Life is precious, and we all have the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do we account for our opportunities? How do we account for our time? How do we account for our relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers? How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
What's happening, everybody? I want to welcome you back to another episode of the Account for Life podcast. Jay Moore here, the healthy accountant, helping you to account for your life. Guys, man, what an awesome, incredible day. It's Sunday. It's the first day of the week. And today here on the podcast, here's what we're talking about. Life is best lived when you have this. When you have this. And today we're going to jump into three reasons why people never ever discover their God-given superpower. So look, I'm super excited about this because we can all discover this. And I believe that today we're just going to give you three things that you maybe not doing, or three things that you can do so that you can actually get out there and actually search for what you already have. So let's jump right into this. So I'm sitting here thinking, I'm a little late this morning. It's Sunday, and I just kind of got thrown off. But I realized something, man. I recently got this book. You got this book, man. It's by Eric Thomas, E.T., the hip hop preacher, man. U.O.U. I'm going to do a book review on this book. I think starting on Tuesday. I'm going to just go chapter by chapter, and I'm going to talk about the book, and I'm going to relate the book to why we owe us. And so it kind of got me thinking about superpower and thinking about, why people never discover, what people are focused on and why they're never getting there. So I was thinking about these things, and three things popped into my mind that I said I had to share today so that somebody can start the week off and say, you know what, wait a second. It's September the 18th, 2022. There's not that much time left in 2022. And man, if God gives us the ability to get to the next level, if God gives us the ability to get to a new year, then man, I can change. I can discover this thing called this thing called power, and it's within us. And so as I was thinking about it, I thought about this marketing term. And I was introduced to a marketing term. I started using ClickFunnels. You heard of that software. Started using ClickFunnels a few years back. And I remember they started talking about this word. And they were talking about this word called indoctrination. I'm like, what is this all about? But this is one of the reasons why people never discover their superpower, because of indoctrination, because of how you've been indoctrinated. And so I'm just kind of walk you through how it works in marketing. See, in marketing, indoctrination is when you introduce a new idea to somebody. So that's the first thing. We want to introduce an idea to somebody, and we want to walk them through how they would understand this idea from beginning all the way through, and just keep showing them almost showing them the same things that reinforce what it is that we were talking about. So indoctrination on the level of individuals and humans, what that means is that when you were born, just like me, we were all born, we were indoctrinated. There was an indoctrination process that took place. It's not marketing. No, it's called culturization. I could have called it culturization, but I wanted to use this marketing term. So indoctrination, when you were born, you were immediately thrown into a process that would help you to become exactly what the process had for you. Right? The process. What is this process? The process is called, living in whatever country you're in. And because you live there, there has to be a way that you be a citizen and, be upstanding to the laws and kind of know how to be a citizen in that country. And in this country, and like many others, they have a process. They have a system. What is that system called? It's called education. And education is the indoctrinational system that we used to think that it helped us to learn something. At least I discovered it didn't help me. But it didn't help me to learn anything except learn about things. And this, man, I could have put this in there. Because we learn about things, we never learn things. And I'm going to say it again. Because we learn about things, we never learn things. You're probably saying, Jay, what are you talking about? Okay, I want you to think about this. When you went to any school that you went to, when you got finished that class, did you know it? Could you no, no, not did you know it, could you do it? When I got finished my accounting degree, I couldn't do it. I didn't know how to do it. I just knew all the theory behind it. I didn't know how to do it. I had to go spend years trying to learn how to do it when really technically I didn't need any school to do it. I'm saying I didn't need any school to become an accountant. All I had to do was go take a job and somebody indoctrinate me into how the job worked. But they said, no, go to school first. Go to school first, spend all those 20, 30, 40, 50, $100,000 in school when I could have been on the job, which this has happened now. There are many people, at least back in the day, used to be accountants and never ever go to school to be accountants, become CPAs, become super successful. But today it's like, oh, you got to go to school to do that. And that's not true. So the indoctrination process is one of the huge, I'm talking about big reasons why people never discover their superpower. Now, okay, so how would you discover your superpower if you was using this same process? Great question, Jay. You would discover your superpower by getting into an environment that would indoctrinate you on how people are using superpowers. That's You see it right here? Somebody's using a superpower. Someone's using a superpower, and now Eric Thomas wound up going to school because that was just something that he did. But the school did not bring out his superpower. He knew what his superpower was when he was 16. Someone told him, a mentor, I've been talking about mentors the past couple of days. A mentor said to him, hey, you're going to be you're going to be an amazing and awesome speaker one day. This is what a mentor told. See, mentors can help lead you to your superpower. Absolutely, because a lot of times mentors already have one, and they can say, "Well, look, this is what you can do. This is what I see in you." He was 16, living in abandoned buildings, and there he was. Someone had faith in him, but there was a prerequisite. They said, you need to at least go do this one thing. Go get your GED or something, right? Because I do want to send you into a place where you can just kind of start cultivating in an environment that would help you. See, even though he went to college, that environment was the better environment than the one he was in. What environment was he in? He was eating out of trash cans, living in abandoned buildings. He needed to get out of that environment so he can at least get into an environment that would at least get him to a place where he could start cultivating that gift, that superpower they have. And like me, you know who Eric Thomas is, and it's because he wound up being indoctrinated into a process that helped him to discover his superpower. Number two reason why people never discover their superpower: occupation. Occupation is why they never discovered their superpower. What does that really mean, Jay? Occupation. That means that they put the occupation before the fact that they should discover more about themselves, account for your life. Hence, if you account for your life, then you would realize that, wait a second, I'm not just an accountant. I'm not just the person that does taxes. I'm not just the person who does financial statements. I'm way more than that. My occupation is what I use so that I can then use that for inside of my superpower. So my occupation is small compared to my superpower. My superpower, I can see things. I can see things in my mind that I could never see before. Like the things that I talk about today. Why do I talk about account for your life? That came out of me because I had to discover a superpower. I had to discover that, man, I've been looking for something. See, a lot of times your superpower is sitting next to you. Your superpower is the thing that you've been struggling with the most, or it could be the thing that you're like, man, wow, it just seems like that's in me, but it's not. Like I used to think that, man, why am I shy? Why can't I do these things? Or why is it that I'm stuck on this? And why is it that I don't have that? And I realized that after a while, when I finally discovered the fact that I've been groomed by my mentor to to be something more than I ever thought I could be. My occupation could not have done that. But many of us are stuck in an occupation. We start using words and phrases. You ever heard this word? Retirement. We start using, see, occupation, they stuck that word in there, retirement. They said, well, if you work for us for 40 years, we'll give you a retirement package. No more retirement packages. Like now, the retirement package is a 401k, and most 401ks cannot take care of you. I can guarantee you, most people that have a retirement plan, when they get to retirement, they are living mostly on Social Security, and that Social Security might be like 20, maybe $30,000 a year. They might have another, I don't know, most people don't have much of anything, but the occupation has become one of the biggest reasons. Now, indoctrination is probably the biggest, but in my generation, occupation was everything. It was like, well, who are you going to be? What college are you going to? And what your degree is going to be in? And when you didn't finish college, I can't believe you didn't finish college because, man, college is everything, and college is going to get you. College is going to make you rich, and college is going to what? College? Are you serious? No. College doesn't do that. Look, all of the successful people that you and I love, they ain't finished nobody's college. And even though my man ET finished college, he finished it for a reason. He did not finish it. He did not finish college. And I haven't started reading the book yet, but I'm going to do a whole series on that book over the last 10 days of this month because it's 10 chapters in it. But he finished college for a purpose. He got a doctorate degree for a purpose. He didn't get a doctorate degree because he wanted one. He got a doctorate degree to set himself apart from other people. And that's what he did. So occupation becomes one of the big reasons why people never discovered a superpower. And lastly, this one is huge. This one is huge because many of us have been bludgeoned. I say, and so I'm using that strong language, bludgeoned. This has been bludgeoned out of us. And many of us lack imagination. Many of us. Absolutely. Like imagination is the preview of life's coming attractions, says Albert Einstein, right? If you were to imagine, and then Solomon said, where there is no vision, people perish. So if you don't have an imagination, think about this. What is imagination? Let's figure out, how can we use imagination to discover our superpower? Great question. I'm glad you asked that question. How can we use superpower? So maybe you don't know your superpower, because many people don't know their superpower. So let's first see how we can use imagination. If you could, now this is a key word, if you could do said thing, what would you do? If you could go said place, where would you go? If you could have said thing, what would you have? If you could, then would you? Then what would you do? So everything is about if you could. So you have to live in a state of, well, you know what? I can. So if you can, then that's the first step of imagination. Man, I used to not used to. I think I've heard someone use, no, they didn't use Imagineering. I think they used Visioneering. This is Sandy Gallagher of the Proctor Gallagher Institute. She was Bob Proctor's business partner. She used her imagination to become his business partner. I want to share this with you because this is powerful. She was a corporate attorney. And she, and somehow she went to one of Bob Proctor's, and Bob Proctor passed away in February. But his imagination came true. But here's the thing: he never knew his imagination. He never knew that Sandy Gallagher was going to be one of the biggest reasons why his company got to the next level. And so here's Sandy Gallagher, a corporate attorney. She was, living the life of occupation. And here it was, she was feeling empty. Anybody ever feel empty? Like, have you felt empty about the things that the things that you do in your occupation? Like, man, I'm just getting tired of it. Look, I've gotten tired of things in my occupation. She was feeling empty, and she somehow went to one of Bob Proctor's events, and she could not believe the way she felt in this event. She was like, "Oh my goodness!" Like the information blew her away. because the information led her to her imagination. And because it led her to imagination, she started envisioning a life outside of the life that she was already living, which was good, by the way. So you can have a good life, but imagination can take you to your best life. And she started what she calls visioneering. She said she started visioneering the fact that she says, you know what, I'm going to work with Bob Proctor. Wait a second. Imagine, and listen, I've gone to events, and there are people now. There are people like ET, right? And man, I want to work with them. But here's the thing: it's not just going to happen. You got to imagine. You have to imagine it first. You have to imagine it in grave detail. You got to feel it. It has to become emotional. It has to become a part of you. And it has to get into you in such a way, not that guarantees it, but you just have to believe it. Then what happens is the steps, things will start to line up. They have to. That's how God created everything. When you expect, see, expectation is also linked to imagination. And so because expectation is linked to imagination, then what that means is you then actually start to believe things that maybe weren't true. Then all of a sudden they can become true because you just believe them. I mean, I could have called this no faith. I could have, but I like the imagination better. So people don't have imagination, and because they don't have imagination, they never get to the point where they know what their superpower is. Do you know what your superpower is today? Like, seriously. See, here's the thing: your superpower is linked to everything that you're doing already. I can tell you that for certain because that's what happened to me. My superpower is linked to the fact that I had been an accountant for many years. It was linked to it. My superpower was linked to the fact that, I lived in a home where faith was big, or faith was something that I could see. My superpower was linked to the fact that maybe, I really wanted to have some money in my life. And that's what that's what I was going after. But my superpower it's not just that. My superpower is the fact that you will teach, you will show, you will help, you will guide, you will allow people to discover their own superpowers because they connect with you. What? Yeah, last year, as we close today, last year I did a book review for about 7 months. It's called The Purpose and Power of Authority. I read that book a couple of times, and then Holy Spirit said you should talk about that book every day. Did I do it every day? Man, I did. I think I talked about that book every day from January of 29, was it? No, January 2020 all the way to July of 2020. I went chapter, no, I went chapter by chapter, but subheads and all that, like all the way through to July. And one of my good friends, shout out to my man Skip Holland, he said, Jay, when I got this book, he says, man, I can't believe, he says, this book has helped me to discover so much. So it's answered so many questions. The Purpose and Power of Authority, written by Dr. Miles Monroe. And that was the book that showed me well, it didn't just show me, it led me to the point where I could move forward in my imagination. I could move forward in the fact that yes, I had occupation, but I didn't have to focus on that anymore. I didn't have to worry about whether or not I was being indoctrinated to something else. It allowed me to say, you know what, I can believe that there's more for my life. And you know what? And Skip Holland said this. He says, Jay, man, you've been my guide. You've guided me. You've guided me through the process. You've helped me see what it is that I couldn't see. And I'm just so glad you brought me here. And he said that that's your mission. He says, I believe that that's your mission, to help other people to get on the path. And so I said, wow, that's part of my superpower. My superpower is to bring people along, bring people on the path of discovery. Now, you've got to do the work. You've got to do the work. Yes. You've got to do the work. That's the thing. If you do the work, then everything will change for you. If you do the work, then everything will change for you. Guys, man, I am no better than anybody else. I'm out here preaching this gospel, preaching the gospel of account for your life. And what I've discovered in preaching the gospel of account for your life is that, look, man, I'm talking about everybody has an opportunity to discover their superpower. Don't allow the grave, guys, do not allow the grave, please, do not allow the grave to steal. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't allow the grave to steal all the power. That's what's happened over these many hundreds of thousands of years. The grave has been stealing people's power. And look, if you're here today, if you've watched this on live or on replay, then that means that you are on notice. You have been put on notice to discover your superpower. Don't allow the indoctrination process to do it. Don't allow the cultural indoctrination process to take it away from you. Don't allow your occupation to take it away. And man, you've got to use your imagination. Don't allow not using your imagination to steal, to take away all the power that is within you. So, guys, I appreciate you for joining me for another episode of the Account for Life podcast. Jay Moore, I'm the healthy accountant. My life, my job, my mission is to help you to account for your life. God bless, and I will see you on the next episode. Peace.